this evening with a public hearing, an ordinance of the Borough of Westchester, Chester County, Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 3 titled Administrative Code of the Borough of Westchester, specifically Section 3-38.U3, titled Transportation Advisory Committee, otherwise known as TAC, to require a majority of the members to be borough residents and one member to be on the committee to establish rail service to Westchester.
So you adopted an ordinance October 16th, 2024 to create the Transportation Advisory Committee. And after that ordinance was adopted, there was further discussion that you wanted to tweak two things relating to that committee. And the title of the ordinance explains what those are. A majority of the members of the committee must be borough residents, and one member of the committee must also serve on the committee to reestablish rail service. Because it's an ordinance, we had to advertise tonight's hearing in the Daily Local News on January 7th, 2025. And we also sent a copy of the ordinance to the Daily Local and Law Library on November 21st. So pretty straightforward. And it would just require a motion and a second to adopt this slight change to the TAC committee.
Council, any questions or comments? Any public questions or comments? Okay, sounds like we can move to a vote. Somebody like?
Do we need a motion? Yeah, so I'd like to make the motion to amend the original ordinance to include those two pieces for membership.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Metrick, please call the vote.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Dorsey is absent, right? She's not with us by phone? No. Mr. Flynn?
Vote.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yes.
Ms. Vaccaro is absent. Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Ms. Shimoni?
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy?
Yes.
It's 5-0.
Okay, that concludes the public hearing. We'll move on to the regular Borough Council meeting. Calling that to order at, was it 6:42? Second order of business, Pledge of Allegiance, led by Mr. Flynn. Thank you. A few announcements. I'm going to announce the vacancy on the Westchester Borough Planning Commission, which has a borough residency requirement, and also the Civil Service Commission, the alternate position, also with a residency requirement. Second announcement about the newly formed Transportation Advisory Committee. We'll be meeting on the second Tuesday of each month. Lastly, we had an executive session this evening to discuss a legal matter. We'll move on to comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding items that are not on the agenda. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to comments by the Borough Council and Mayor, starting with Mr. McGinnis.
Good evening. Thank you. And I just want to wish everyone a happy new year and look forward to another year working on council with my colleagues and continuing the progress that we have started a couple years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Travis.
Yeah, my comments are going to be on the Transportation Advisory Committee. I'm extremely pleased that we got that discussed last year, stood up, drafted a charter, and now we're fully staffed. So I'm really excited to see this committee in action. They actually had their first meeting last night, even though we had some changes to the membership that we advertised and tweaked the ordinance. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from them in the first report. Again, this advisory committee is looking at a macro level of how we move people in, out, and around Westchester Borough. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Flynn.
Greetings from the sweetest ward in the borough, the 6th Ward. We had a great Christmas season in the borough with many events going on, and people just love to flock downtown, especially for the special Christmas markets that we had. I was very pleased the way the bid put that on with the vendors. The streets were crowded and the stores were working very, very well. We have another new business in the Sixth Ward. It's amazing how we always seem to expand. It's called Beer and Loathing. Well, I had to look up loathing, and that's not a nice word. It says, all kind of negative stuff. But if you go there, it's the greatest concept you've seen since the boardwalk. And you can drink beer while you're there. So it's games, pinball games, it's video games, it's games where you hit golf balls and stuff and doing that and stuff like that. It's an amazing concept. It's unique. Great place to take the kids on a rainy day. So it's a wonderful new adventure that we have there in the Sixth Ward. So check it out. It's amazing. I never saw so many pinball machines in one spot. So that's about it. Have a great new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Simone.
Happy New Year. I think we did have a lovely holiday season, and it was a lot of great stuff. So I agree with that. Right now, I will say it is cold. Bundle up and be kind, because it is cold right now. And yeah, we'll get through it, and looking forward to spring.
Thank you. Mayor.
So, of course, like everyone else, Happy New Year. I hope it's off to a good start for everyone. As one business comes, another gets ready to leave. And so I'm sad to hear that Little Rosie's Donut Shop is leaving town. And we thank them. It was a couple that ran it and the donuts were great. And sorry that they're leaving the borough of Westchester. I think they opened it in 2023, so they had a short run, but it was a strong run, and we're sorry to see them go.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll say Happy New Year, and a quote from Ben Franklin: "Be at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let every new year find you a better man." And with that, we will, or woman. It was Ben Franklin's time. It was a direct quote. I did not want to stray. So thank you all, and we will move on to business here. Starting with reports and presentations with the Borough Manager's Report for 2024.
Thank you all. Knowing that tonight's agenda is light and my report is coming to you at the beginning of the year, I wanted to take an opportunity just to reflect for a moment on the great privilege it is to be your borough manager. I have been working in local government for 20 years, and my path has gone in many different directions. I'm pleased to be here in a town of Westchester's character, and to be able to contribute to making this a great place to live, work, and play going forward. So there's no place I'd rather want to do this very difficult job than here. And I couldn't do it if I didn't have a staff behind me that takes care of all the borough business. There's very few of them in the room tonight taking care of that business in a timely and efficient manner. So I just wanted to reflect my gratitude before I made some remarks tonight. Some important work we did last year is we arrived at a mission statement where we were going to say that this is what we're about. And it's on our website under the administration webpage if you want to see it. And what we came up with is a very wordy explanation of administering and executing the laws, services, maintenance, renewal of our infrastructure under the direction of our elected leaders in the best interests of current and future residents of Westchester Borough. Very deliberate there in using the words, and very deliberate in using the word residents, because I think what I've been hearing from this elected officials is that our residents come first. We appreciate our property owners, we appreciate our businesses, but we make our policy decisions around the people that live in this town, and I want to respect that. Whether you own your property or you rent your property, it's a town with 2/3 renters. And that's why we chose that word for residents. Also, we can't just plan for today's or tomorrow's problems. We have to be looking 5 and 10 years into the future. And we have to understand what we're becoming and to plan for that future, or we'll never get there. Hard things take a lot of work and forethought and planning to get there. I feel like I'm at a point in my career where I can leverage my knowledge of local government to help us get to those objectives that you set, those objectives that are written in our planning documents, which I want to become more part of our conversations. We also settled on some core values of service, truth, integrity, and respect. Those are enumerated again on our website on the administrative page. And these are going to filter down into our organizational development plan. I've identified some things that are going to be important to me this year. One of my first assignments for the directors that report to me, the staff that reports directly to me and manages your borough departments, is to listen to this presentation, because I'm talking about the organizational development plan that is going to translate into goals that are going to be set for your staff that they're going to have to perform to. So when I'm done talking, which won't be much longer, I'm just going to go through these. I would love to hear your feedback, because it's important that we continue to dialogue about the direction I'm leading the borough in. And I know we're going to get an opportunity to sit down and talk about how things have gone later this week with the president and vice president. And I expect there to be more issues that are council driven here that are long range that I can meet and be challenged to meet. And I'm looking forward to it. Some things that have popped out in my starting now my 5th year with the borough, starting my 4th year as the borough manager. I have 3 years as the borough manager, being responsible for these major decisions. Is I've broken this down into some things that are inward facing and outward facing. Outward facing are communication and engagement planning. So I want to organize a team. I have a team in place already of existing employees. We're going to be covering web, social media, print media, mail, and emergency communications. And we're going to look at a way to integrate and organize timely information and reports on what we're doing. And also, if we're communicating proactively about things that are changing or how to access some of our services, all the better, because I want the user experience to be as easy as possible for people. We are a 24/7 operation, so I want to be able to process building permits at all times of day, should you want to submit those at all times of day. And our doors, in the technology age, your doors technically are never closed. My second focused area is customer service planning. This is also another outward facing goal. I want the experience when you come to this building, when you call us up, when you email us, to be responsive, efficient, direct, and get you the answers you need. I don't want people waiting around for information. I don't want people getting wrong information. And I want people to know who they need to ask to get their problems solved. And I want the people on our inside of our organization to be receptive and be trained in those customer service skill sets so that we can be the best service providers that we can. Those are some 2 outward-facing goals. Inward-facing goals are performance management. I'm retuning the way I manage performance. I'm getting away from the model where I had been focused too much, I would say, on big picture ideas. Big picture ideas are going to stay, but we're implementing a performance management system through our new human resource information system that's going to be shorter term and project delivery or goal delivery within 90 or 120 day horizons, instead of having to come back and having a discussion about the last 365 days. I want to have shorter conversations about what did you do the last 3 months? Did you get where you needed to go? How is your reporting looking? Are you communicating what your department is doing to the public and to the elected officials? And are you accountable for those activities? If they don't add up, we're going to have a problem. And problems come up in the workplace. Problems and conflict come up in the workplace, and we're going to work through that. And if performance has to improve, we will take care of that. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is process documentation. The police department does an incredible good job of this. Every police department has a standard of operating, basically a standard operating manual that gets signed off on. When I was in Narberth, it was signed off on by the mayor. I don't know if that's your procedure here, Lillian. But there are ways that things are supposed to be handled. That's very important when you're dealing with legal matters. Just think about what can go wrong when you're gathering evidence. And we do hold evidence downstairs in our police department. You got to follow very strict procedures on how that's supposed to be done, who does that, and that has to be documented. And that lets you go back and look at the process and find gaps. And it also helps you with compliance, and it also helps keep your staff accountable to doing things the right way. So we're going to be starting process documentation this year for all departments. And lastly, the next, excuse me, the last thing we're going to be doing with our team is training and team building. In the first quarter of 2025, we're going to complete a communication conflict resolution training session with the borough management team of 11 or 13, excuse me. And we're also currently under develop is another training session on service-oriented mindset that we're going to start with our management team and then deploy that to our people who handle our frontline customer service. We have an employee in Public Works that does that. Parking has a team that handles customer service, finance, building and housing. And lastly, initiatives that have started up that has come from you all is to foster better communication with the university and identify what those key issues are and work on resolutions for them. And I really like how we're structuring that so far. And the time will come where we're going to start working on that and getting more things delivered. And we're going to be reporting out of that structure, that structure to communicate with the university. I've already learned a lot about who I need to be talking to and who in our organization needs to be talking to the people in their organization to communicate about issues and problems. So that is something that came from you all that is included on this list. So that's where I stand as of today. I just wanted to share that all with you in the first manager's report of the year. I'm glad you're here, Bill, to hopefully give it some wings. And I'm really interested in your feedback on this, and the management team is listening.
Thank you very much. Council, comments?
Just got one comment, Sean. I think everything I heard was great, but with the university, trust but verify. You like that one, Daryl?
I also had a comment, Sean. Clearly, you laid out a lot of pieces here that I do believe that reflect what we've communicated collectively last year in your planning, and I do appreciate that. Specifically, the relationship with WCU, I do think that we need stronger relationships with WCU, and I know that we attempted to do that through the Westchester Community Campus Coalition. A lot of C's there. I can't remember exactly what the acronym stands for, but this is next level, and I do think that we probably reached the point where we need next level, and I really appreciate you listening to some of our comments about the Westchester experience, what's happening in the neighborhoods, the focus on residents. That all makes sense to me, and hearing that being played back is encouraging. So thank you.
Any other comments?
No, I'll say a couple of things. Yeah, I think this list is great. I mean, I think, Sean, you've done a lot coming in. You've done a lot with the budget and a lot of kind of working through with Barb with straightening things out there. And this is kind of just continuing that continuous improvement of the organization and moving things forward. And I think it's a good, strong list, and looking forward to seeing what you accomplish with it this year.
I do. Give you the last word. We're going to spend 3 years jousting. Mr. Metrick, I was very much impressed by with your vision moving forward. It's amazing as we sat and did an evaluation, how many points that you're touching on also came across our minds, and looking forward to the management team sharing that with you. Going forward into 2025, I can be a little bit more controversial than most people sitting up here because I have no filter, because I've earned that being 73 years old. I don't want to be, as I told people, I don't want to be, I'm very passionate, and I hope my passion never goes into rudeness. And we had a conversation earlier this week, and I'm going to try to work more collectively behind the scenes or offline before it comes to council and it becomes uncomfortable moving into 2025. You've shown your vision. I saw the weaknesses that I have sometimes on council, that I can become extremely blunt. But I'm going to try to work on that this year moving forward to be more of a team player into your office.
Clearly, you've heard us. As Bernie said, many of these things are the things that we've talked about over the last couple of years. A couple of us have been on. We're in our third year now. Bernie, many more years. But I appreciate it and really look forward to working with you on this. I mean, obviously, no ship turns around on a dime, and there's clearly been a lot of change over the 3 years that I've been here. Finance being one of them, the grant opportunities that we've been able to secure is huge. So look forward to working with you on this, and I think it's going to be a great 2025. Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, President. I would say thank you for that well thought out mission statement for 2025. Certainly this last 3 years, it's been a period of transition between COVID and new leadership, and not only with yourself, but with the department heads. We are excited to hear that you're taking the helm and leading with your action and with your statement. So thank you for that. Also, I would love also for you to include in that to be more present for the activities that happen in and about Westchester. And so you'll have a better perspective of what Westchester provides to the community and why it's beloved by its residents. So I would welcome to take you to any of the events that I go to have you there. But I think it is important that some of these events you come to, and that way it will give you, instead of always looking from the inside out, you'll be able to see the town and the beauty that it provides for the residents that live here. So thank you for your leadership, and I look forward to, everything can improve. I mean, if Bernie can be a team leader, then team player, then anything is possible. Right, Bernie?
Thank you, Council
Amen.
and Mayor. Any public comments? Okay, then we will move on to old business. Starting with a motion to appoint the membership terms to the Transportation Advisory Committee. The issue being appointing members to staggering 2- and 3-year terms in accordance with the recommendation from the Transportation Advisory Committee. 3-year term, Laura McLean, Tricia Shields, John O'Brien, and 2-year terms for Ray Ott and Jim Wiley.
I have a question on the offering here. What I see missing is a administrative representative to be assigned to the board. Like we've always, most of the boards, there's like Sally goes to planning and zoning, the different committees. Heath goes to Parks and Rec, and we don't have an administrative person assigned to it. So, you know, along with the people that will be there, I think we should consider that piece as well, you know, assigning somebody to report back to us as well. Like maybe the sustainability director. That'd be a great spot for him to do. That way he's a little bit more engaged in what's going on. So that's my thought. So.
Good point.
I
Yeah.
agree with having Mr. Williams be the liaison. I think this is a sustainability issue, and it makes sense to me.
I like that too. Do we, I guess we need to ask him. We can't just.
Yeah, well, I think that's up to Mr. Metric as Borough Manager to make that call, but we can provide a recommendation that will be the liaison to the Transportation Advisory Committee. So the motion here is to appoint the membership terms.
Can I ask one other question related? It's like who ended up, did they vote last night on like who the head of the committee is and
Yes.
so who's president of the committee or
John O'Brien is chairing.
okay. Is there like a vice chair or anything?
I'm not sure the rest of the officers, but I'm sure that they'll be communicating that out to us.
Yeah, I was just curious how that flowed into the three versus the
Yeah,
two.
that was one of their, I actually have the agenda here, so nominate chair and then nominate secretary. And I don't know who was nominated as secretary. Oh, it was Jim. Yep, there we go.
So with that being said, Mr. McCoy, I make a motion that we accept the motion as presented.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Metric, please call the question. Oh, sorry, public comment. Thank you.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, we will move on to item B, motion to appoint a position to the Westchester Library Board to fill a vacant seat. We had two candidates, Denise Polk, who joined us last evening by telephone, and Norman Crandall. Both are residents of the borough.
I have a thought on this one. You know, I actually liked Norman. Not only, I mean, I don't fault Denise for not being here and having to travel, but I do recognize that Norman not only applied for the role, but he stayed for the entire meeting. He had comments about our meeting last night afterwards, and he seemed very enthusiastic in general and for the library board. So I actually liked him quite a bit and thought he'd be a good addition to the committee.
I'm in agreement.
I agree.
So, Mr. Bonner, would you like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Crandall?
I will make a motion to appoint Norman Crandall to the Westchester Library Board.
Second.
Mr. Metric, please call the question.
Public comment.
Sorry, Daryl.
Public comment.
Could get heated.
Hey, Mr.
Okay.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Mr. Travis,
Yes.
Mr. Flynn,
Yes.
Ms. Schmoning,
Yes.
and Mr. McCoy.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda.
There's nothing on there that needs to be changed. Mr. McCoy, I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Do we have any public comment? Okay, Mr. Metric, please call the question.
Yes.
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 Yes. Is there any new business? Any other business? All right, with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:08. Thank you.